Welcome back to the Men's Roundtable Series podcast. I'm Mr. U. We got some guys in here that are ready to chat you up about all things men. These guys are ready to roll, man. Before we get into our business for today, if you watch this for the first time, watching or listening, or both for the first time, upper left-hand corner of the screen, the QR code that will allow you to grab all of our episodes from previous Roundtable Series podcasts and check out how we do business out here, what we talk about, who we're inviting in, and the kind of impact that we're having. So thank you for your support, whether you're on the listening platforms or you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. So thanks again for being here. We got a couple of quick announcements real quick. We'll start with Rory. He has what I think is a fantastic announcement. I need you to put your listening ears on for this one because this probably applies to most of you guys that are podcasters, content creators, and media moguls in the making. Check it out. Go ahead, Rory.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, we are putting on a seminar for monetization, like actual real live, honest to God monetization, how to make money with your podcast, from your book, with your content creation, the whole bit. So, I mean, we're going deep into it. It's not just, buy me a coffee or set yourself up on Patreon, although those are great, but it's actually how to do it. So the seminar is March 28th. It's 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. We'll take a break in the middle. And then after 12:30, when we come back, at least 3 hours of Q&A live. So ask whatever question you want. We'll stay, for at least 3 hours answering these questions and make sure that everybody knows how to apply the stuff that we talked about. It's only $199. It's, right there. And I mean, normally I sell that program for a boatload compared to that. So I hope that everybody in this group and is listening takes advantage of it. Most of us have podcasts or shows. So podcast, YouTube channel, or shows. Sign up. Let's get it going.
Thank you, sir. And we got some love coming in from the comment section. Our guy, DF, one of our regular panelists, man. And this man is now amongst the married men. He is now a husband. He's down with the husband crew, the husband committee. He says, mighty man of God right there. We love you, brother. You're a mighty man of God yourself, brother. A guy, leader and founder of the Daughter Podcast. Oscar Penny's in the house. What's up, fam? Good to see you. Give love to the family, please, from us. Don't let Megan watch this show. This is about you, okay? Our quick announcement real quick, and I have the information in the show notes, but it's been a long time coming. I've been talking about this for a while, and I've been running into a lot of counterfeit opportunities, if you will. I'm finally starting my own community. I'm really excited about this. It's not a private Facebook deal. This is a little bit bigger than that, but it's called the Everyday Edge Community. I'm inviting entrepreneurs, business leaders, kingdom builders, faith and community leaders. I mean, you guys specifically, I'm inviting you into the community. All the information is in the show notes. You can check it out. Whatever you see in the show, right in the show notes, you can find that. Love to have you involved in what we're doing. I believe it's going places already. So already a nice following. And I believe it's going to be a real asset to those people who are trying to build something and they need clarity and accountability and ongoing support in their doing so. So Everyday Edge Community, we're out here, we're doing this. We meet every Wednesday at 12 noon, but we're doing work outside of that time, outside of those huddles. So please be involved if you can. The information is in the show notes and the link as well to register. Love to have you guys involved. All right, so let's get into the business at hand. So the last 2 weeks, man, I still been talking about this. It's been, I use the word profound because the word scripture is out of words tonight. Unbelievable what's been going on this show the past 2 weeks. And it's a testimony to that because that's why we're still having the same topic. It's just part 3 of it, what men won't say out loud. Because we unearth so many things about us and about the condition of men and the unwritten rule book, if you will, and so many things that we're just dissecting, man. So I think it's going to take us the rest of the month because there's so much meat on this bone. Who knows? It may go even further than that. But here we are, man. Like my guy said, one of our regular panelists. What's up, Rod? He said, round 3, let's go. Round 1 and 2 was, I had young kids say it was lit. My God, it was an inferno. But here we are going into round 3. I know you guys are excited about it. So let's get into this. We're probably talking about, we're focusing on what men don't talk about in the forms of needing help. I got the title of the show, Can You Please Help Me? Because that's the kind of thing that I think men deal with a lot too. I know self-sufficiency gets praised, but dependency gets criticized. And one of the things that this is an old running joke. I don't really think it's true. There's times where I was guilty of it, but I don't think it's like a general thing that men won't ask for directions. I'm not sure that's a real thing, like across the board. There's some anomalies there where men just won't do that because of, they'd be embarrassed by not knowing how to ask another man how to get down to this location, this address, using a map or whatever. But I don't think that's a real thing. But that joke still has legs. It's still something that you put in commercials. It's still happening. And I'm like, okay, is that a real thing? So I want to ask a question for us to reflect, and then I want to get into your views on the topic in general, and then we get into details. What do you think the entire world would look like if men were more likely to ask for help, regardless of the complexity of the situation? Doesn't matter what they're dealing with, doesn't matter how hard or difficult it may be. What do you think the world would look like today if men ask for help rather than fall into this stereotype of not asking for help? Go ahead. Anybody? Popcorn style. Jump in.
Yeah, I think it would be absolutely amazing to see that. We typically, men are the ones that are relied upon for the most part, and it's difficult for them to even ask for help at times, right? So some men don't even know how to ask, right? And I feel like if the world, like as men, if we just gave in, said, I need help, I need assistance, we'd be in a much better place than we are today, for certain.
Okay, love that. Anybody else? Jump in. Come on. This pause is too long, man. Let's go. Come on.
Man,
too hard.
so think about this, man. Like, shout out to my brother Steve. Seen, you understand that? I see it.
Yeah.
I see it. Yeah. We got to be willing to sacrifice some things, man. I've said it a billion times. I'm a basketball nut, bro. It's March Madness right now, but I'd rather be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather be here, man, because I know, man, there's a time for play and there's a time to really get down to make things happen. So what would it look like? I
What
asked
the
the
world
same,
look like?
yeah. I asked the same question to my son yesterday, but kind of differently, gentlemen. And he's 16. So a lot of that preparation talk in terms of becoming a man and just understanding that there's some things he's not going to understand at this point. He has to experience it. He has to go through it. But it's similar, brother, to that question, like, what would it look like? And I said it to him yesterday. I said, there's always an opportunity to help others. But as men, we struggle sometimes because for whatever obvious reason that we're going through internally. And I said, and it doesn't matter what color. It doesn't matter status. It doesn't matter the job, gentlemen. It doesn't matter how many degrees or all of that's cool, but that's still man-made type things. And we basically broke down the Lord's Prayer. And when I got to the part with my son yesterday of forgive those who trespass against us, forgive us our trespasses and forgive those who trespass against us. That part right there is kind of the same that I was feeling in that vibe of what you just asked us, Yusuf, as far as the trespass. I asked him, I said, do you understand what that means? And he was like, yeah, sort of like breaking and entering, and I was like, not really, son. I said, it's more so, committing specific type of acts towards someone, or, just in layman's terms, doing someone wrong. Forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And, again, just that's not a tough question, but it's a, I think about the song by Common, where he talks about what would it be like if women ran the world. Would it be softer? Would it be more feminine in aspect of that nurturing type of motherly love? So, yeah, man.
All right, I'm going to break the mold here. I think it would look worse, much, much worse. Because men, by our character, by our design, we thrive on pain. That is where some of the greatest innovations in mankind has ever come from, was men who felt like they had to take on the world by themselves. I'm a big person into not having regrets. I've made some really stupid choices in my life that caused a lot of pain, that did a lot of damage. I don't regret them because those moments made me. But I don't know if it's a process of how we departed and we became this way, that men are driven by pain and adversity. And if we ask for help with everything, if we were much more likely to ask for help, there would be a lot of things that never happened or never got there because a man didn't feel like he had to fight the world on his own.
All right, fair enough. My guy Zion out here says,
Yeah, I
listen
kind of
to the
follow him.
soldiers. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I kind of follow him with Brent on that one. You know, we haven't been able to ask for help, so we've had to figure things out, and that's just that. We haven't been able to figure them out, so we have to ask. I mean, we haven't been able to ask for help, so we have to figure this stuff out. You know, kids today, they try something for maybe 30 seconds, and if there's no app for it, they go, all right, I can't do it, and they throw their hands up. Problem solving isn't being taught anymore. We taught ourselves how to think creatively, how to MacGyver our way through something. You know, solve the equation, fix the problem. Now you give a story problem to a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old in school, and they have no idea how to solve it because they can't think outside of what's been handed to them. And so, I mean, I think maybe while I'd agree with Stephen and T.O. that it would feel better. I'm not sure we'd have better results necessarily because I think we have had to create our way and fight our way out of that box the whole time because we can't ask for help. So it's like, wow, if you're all you got, you better figure that stuff out. But hey, just my thought.
Yep. The good part is that we're not all we got. We have options. We got people that care. We got people that are willing to extend their hand. Everybody's not taking. I know, but especially I've had combos with all you guys separately about this. We're in a circle in a world full of takers, especially in this content creation, podcasting. I got me a new community, kind of space, and it's like we see a lot of takers. It's not everybody. It's not 100%. It's a very high percentage of people who are just looking out for themselves. They're takers, but we're in a world that, even though we see that, we recognize that some people who, like you guys on the screen, you guys on the comment section, you guys that are watching, listen to the show on a regular basis. Everybody's not trying to take. Some guys feel compelled to give a hand up instead of a hand out because we recognize where we used to be. So that it's not so dire. I definitely want to premise it by saying, oh, we don't have nobody else. We have to do that. Yeah, that's primitive Neanderthal type thinking. We don't have to do that anymore. I'm not saying ask for help for everything that you do, because I don't even do that, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? If I need help, and I'm like, I'm stuck, I can't figure it out, and the map and the GPS ain't helping, I'm gonna ask for help. Because I ain't got all day to be out here in some street in the woods and whatnot. So I'm gonna ask for help if I have to. But this just I just wonder, what you guys are saying, how the world would look if everybody would ask for help when they needed it, not for everything, not for like I think it was a Warriors example about the kids who don't embrace problem solving. They don't have a figure it out mentality. I'm not talking about them. I've seen that with people that are my grandkids' age. They get a little bit of adversity. Oh, that I cross the I and carry the one, and it's still not working out. You know what I'm saying? So I quit. We're not talking about those kind of people. We're talking about people who are actually trying to do some good, trying to make a difference, and they just don't understand what's missing. I mean, you and I, in fact, you, Coach Clay, we coach people like that. They've been trying stuff for years, and they just haven't figured out why it's not working. I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting ready to get this thing up, and we've helped them make a turnaround. Not to have you agree with that. Is that not true? So that's what I'm talking about. But, all right, Dave McCarter's in the house. He said, "Ain't that the truth? Everyone takes." Ooh, is that what I said, Dave? Did I say everyone takes? Because I don't recall saying. I think I said that most people in our circles. I don't know if you're in our circles or not, because I don't recognize your name, but
That's my brother from another mother right there.
Copy that. Would you tell your brother that everybody's not taking? Brent's out here serving people. He ain't trying to get over on folks. So okay. He responded in 50. Thank you, Dave, because I was getting concerned. I'm like, wait a minute, did I say that? I'm at the double episode and start over again. I wasn't trying to say that for sure. Rod said, that's fair, Brent. I think most men's idea of help is watching someone who is doing or has done what it is they want to do, mostly in silence, taking notes, then trial and error. Okay. Oscar said, the feminist movement, in essence, trying to rule the world, has given us a taste of what it may look like. Just a thought. Okay. Dave said it, a bit much on my part. Sorry. No worries, Dave, man. Thanks for being here, brother. I'm glad you're chiming in and leaving comments, man. I appreciate that so much. Keep it going, brother. All right.
That's
so
good
any other
people
additional
right there.
thoughts on this, man? Because did I clarify it well? I want to make sure I was clear about what I was saying. I ain't saying ask for help for everything and relinquish our responsibility, if you know what I mean. We're husbands, fathers, brothers, and sons, and there's a responsibility that go with that. There's obligations that go with that. There's things we got to do, and we can't outsource it to somebody else. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Nod your head. You nod your head. Do something. So I know you're not frozen. Okay, we're good, all right? Okay, what else you guys got? What else you guys thinking, man? Let's get into this.
I mean, can you do both? You think about
What do you mean?
well, both sides of the aisle, in terms of the perspective. It's like, when I think of my sons, man, they're raised by 2 Marines. So we're not playing that game, bro. Like it's you're gonna figure the hell out, and I think that's the pass down, because my pops is the same way. Stephen Miller, hey, he knows my pops, Joe Clay. Hey, his old saying is, you're either gonna root, poor, hog, or die. Root, hog, poor, or die, something like that. He always said it, man. We get so mad, man, my brother. You better figure it out. So, can we have both? I mean, I think it's to say the what ifs, what this world will look like, or what society will look like. You got to factor in so many other things with that, man.
Yeah.
Because right now, one of my good buddies, he's been having I won't say like a battle, but he's been identifying some things that was said by another Marine that we know, that went on a spiel about how he sees the white man. Like, he was like, hey, the white man did all of these things. He's like, straight up and down, like, the white man did that, all these things. So if you live in this country, shut the hell up, because the white man did that. And obviously, anytime you put out that, you're going to have the counter arguments and all of that. So where am I going with that? It's kind of like, we don't ask for help. It's sometimes because we don't trust everybody. Or we don't. It's like I was saying the last time we won. Like, I feel like I could call Brent at 3 a.m. And I don't know Brent, but just that veteran relation that we have, regardless of branch of service, regardless of anything, I know I could reach out to him. I know I could reach out to Steve. I know I could ask Roy to help me with my YouTube, and he's going to give his best effort. But I hardly don't even speak to my neighbor, because his dog was crapping in our backyard, and my wife kind of spazzed out, and some words flew, and it was just like that, cut it off, like straight up, like, because now I'm vulnerable. Now I'm like, man, And he didn't talk crazy back to my wife or anything, but it just kind of put that stalemate in between, all based over a dog pooping in the yard. Um, that's a tough one, Youssef, man, because it could go in so many different directions, man. But what would it look like
You
if
guys are not used
we?
to this by now. This is my MO, man.
That's a
I want
tough
us to
one,
think
man.
deeper. This is what I'm doing. I'm glad it's a tough question. Let's dig through it.
It's a
Yeah.
tough one.
So the other side of it, though, like if you don't ask for help, that's where stress pops in and isolation and things like that. So that's why I said what I said in the beginning. Like it would be a much better place if we did open up more. You know, people out here dying from the sense of keeping things bottled up. You know, so that's kind of where I'm coming from with that.
I mean, I can't disagree with that. This the whole premise of this podcast was started from that. I shared it last week. I think it was the week before too. I think about the man on the bridge. That's not one of Aesop's fables. That's a real thing that happened on a regular basis. On that same spot on the bridge, somebody stand and say, "You know what? Nobody care what I have to say. Nobody listening to me. I don't matter to people." And they want to jump onto the freeway, man, on a 6-lane highway. I mean, that's somebody who maybe they couldn't ask for help, or they asked for help and got nothing in return. It could be a number of different things. So that's how this podcast got started. So I'm definitely a little bit partial to that mindset that, you know what, if everybody that was in a spot like that, or to the point where they were feeling almost out of control, losing control, if they asked for help, what could happen? The potential. You might save a life. This person might find their footing as an author, as a speaker, as a coach, as an inventor, or who knows what kind of talent and ability they have and suppressed under all of that garbage. So to me, I'm not against the idea of it being a complicated question. Yet I'm sure it is. I hope we can get through it a little bit tonight. But at the same time, if men don't ask for help as a general rule, you done already failed, dude. I'm saying to everybody that's watching, listen, if you think that, we can go back and forth right now. I'm ready, got my gloves on, they ready. I'm ready to box it out with y'all. But as a general rule, if you think as a general rule, I ain't asking for help from nobody, you a fool, man.
And see, that's the duality of the whole situation, though. All right. Men need adversity. We need stress. We need pressure for us to be at our peak. That is the way God designed us to function. Right? If you look at the very beginning, right? Men's roles in the world, we were designed. That's why we have wider shoulders. We were designed to carry the weight, both emotionally and physically. Right? We need that to thrive. At the same time, we have changed the role of men in the world so drastically. We have redefined where men fit in society so ridiculously, with both the changes in perception and people's expectations and the change in modernization. As you know, life has progressed into computers and technology as opposed to a lot of manual labor basis for the 90+% of men, right? Used to, the only jobs out there that men filled other than some kind of labor force job, right, where you're building something, was like the lawyers and doctors era, right? There was very few academics. Most men were building or working, right? But as that role has changed, it's forced us to now deal with something that we didn't used to have to carry. We're now carrying a need because there's so much emotional and mental stress put on men to figure out how they fit, where they function, and what role they fill now, with society saying, no, we don't want you to do this, but still teaching us the same playbook we've had for 2,000 years, right? So we have this crazy duality because we need the stress, we need the pressure, we need the adversity, but at the same time, we're now forced to face something that's never been an issue in the past. It's really started since World War II, is because culture has changed and men don't have to carry all the labor burdens and stuff like that. Now we start to worry about those anxiety things, those stress things. And so we're having to find a solution for that. It's a new battle relatively. I mean, you can call World War II old, but it's a new battle relatively in the history of man to actually have to come face to face with this.
Definitely. And Stu got a comment.
Yeah.
Brother, thank you for that reaching out. Hold on, Rory. Stu, go ahead and retype your comment if you don't mind. I think your comment got cut off. I really want to hear what you had to say, man. It looks like some of the words got cut off, man. But go ahead, Rory. Jump in, brother.
Yeah, I actually was looking at one of the comments in the section from RL, and I thought that kind of gave us an opportunity to maybe bridge this gap, because I think we're talking about a matter of degrees. I don't think anybody here is advocating that we never ask for help. I don't think anybody's advocating that we always ask for help. So I guess to put a fine point on it is like, when do you ask for help? And that's why I really like that question from RL. To the 19-year-old that's watching, who should you or shouldn't you ask for help? When's it appropriate to ask? I think it's really important that we stress that we try to handle it ourselves first. I think that needs to be part of teaching. It's independence, it's power, it's taking accountability. Because I think that, especially with the youth, the way it is right now, is they ask for it too fast. They don't even try themselves. They just ask quickly. So I think that if we push it and say, hey, you really need to try and figure this out yourself. Now, if you've exhausted that and you can't, okay, then that's a different kind of a story, right? So if you have tried your best and you can't do it, then definitely ask for help. But you got to try first. I guess that's kind of where I'm landing.
Agreed. Yeah, and this is not about the guys on the panel. There's people out here. I don't know if they're watching or not, but I'm in social media spaces with these people, and some of them to a rule because they're so broken. That's what it really boils down to. That asking anybody for help is a crime in their mind. It's like I've given up all of the weakness I have. I've been exposed and vulnerable so much and been hurt and abused. I'm not trusting anybody. I'm not asking anybody for nothing. They're out there. I ain't saying it's you guys, but let's not deceive ourselves. They're out here. They're out here on social media platforms with us. We got to just be in a place where we can see it. But no, I definitely love the point there. And I guess, did we answer RL's question? You felt pretty good about that? Anybody else want to chime in on his question? Anybody have any additional thoughts besides Rory on this one?
Yeah, I say for that 19-year-old, make sure you surround yourself with like-minded people, in terms of finding your identity and purpose and things like that, so that you can get started in your adulthood in an appropriate way. Watch your surroundings, make sure you surround yourself with like-minded people with purpose.
Absolutely. Good stuff, Stephen. Brent, Clay, I'm sure 20
Yeah. Sorry, I jumped in. You should ask people who are going the places you want to be.
I love it.
When you go to ask for help, right? Yeah, you should absolutely build a high value circle of high value men who are going somewhere that you want to go. And once you build those connections, that's who you want to talk to. You want to ask the people who are 2 or 3 steps ahead of you, go in the direction you want to go, or are already at the direction you want to go. Those are the people you want to ask for help.
So you had something?
Yeah, I agree with the gentleman. Sometimes they don't know where they want to go. At 19, 20, 21, 20, 25, sometimes you just don't know. And sometimes the environment can kind of, I wouldn't say dictate outcomes, but at the same time, I've heard 19-year-olds say, I feel like I don't have no other way out. A lot of excuses, what I mean? A lot of different, but again, in terms of just seeing the scope through the environment, especially if you don't have a father in the home, or if you don't have that particular alternative, like some young fellas have coaches, they play basketball, football, whatever, wrestle, and they can kind of compensate for not having that father in the home through other means, uncles or whatever the case may be. But it's like, man, asking for help, again, man, it's some I was just looking at the news a little bit ago. There's a young girl here, uh, 12 years old, died a few days ago. Some of you gentlemen may have seen it. She was getting bullied and got off the school
Mhm.
bus. Girl that was
Yeah.
bullying her ended up body slamming on the concrete. Within 72 hours, she dies in the hospital. And it's like, man, when you look at that, and you're just like, man, wow. Yeah, I know if you body slam me, yourself on the concrete, anything could happen. That's real,
Absolutely.
man. And it's like asking for help. That young girl did ask for help. Her father went to the school twice. Her mom was involved. She had told teachers that she was being bullied. She was asking for help. And 72 hours later, she's no longer here with us. But it's like, man, I think about the way Steve and I grew up. We grew up in that same type of manner where, man, if there was a fight, the whole neighborhood was coming like it was a Mike Tyson fight. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, that was
we,
that's a real thing.
hey, we seen some dudes get split up. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like we seen some brutal fights, man. And luckily, nobody died. But yeah, man, yeah, I agree with DL out there, man. That 19-year-old, hopefully somebody's helping them to see this right now. Because we're talking about it. We're literally trying to chop it up and cut it up and figure out different ways for that to be effective. So
Yes,
yeah,
man.
I'm not afraid to ask for help anymore, man. With specific things though.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Understood.
want to ask my parents to help me with money. When I left home, uh, I made that vow to my mother. Mom, I'm not going to ask you for a dime. You've done enough. Why do I need to ask you for money? Which goes back to like Brent said, that pressure's on. We get out here and we work. We do whatever necessary we got to do. And my mom still this day. You need anything, son? Can I help you with anything? If I ask her, I know she'll give it to me. But it's
Yeah,
just
no,
something
okay.
about that. There's something, fellas, about just that. Don't be that taker asking for help. If you could get out here, like Roy said, and make it happen for yourself, man. It's a lot of
Copy
takers,
that.
man. Yeah. So
Yes, sir. You and I talk about it on a weekly basis.
yes, sir.
But we got a few comments I want to get into real quick. So Stu got us coming back in and says, as a father of four daughters, got me beat by one, brother, girl dad, son of husband and an awesome woman, I feel totally comfortable being vulnerable around them and learn how to better manage my emotions because of them. Our guy Adam says, we are in a microwave culture. If we can't get instant gratification within seconds, we either give up or we move on. And I think that is why we as a culture have become so broken. Wise men learn from his mistakes, but a wiser man learns from the mistakes of a wiser man. So I agree with Brent. Love it. Zion said this. How do we reach young men who have trust issues with other men because of father issues? Before we get to the other comment, let's jump on this one real quick, man. I think this is a good one. We have touched this before on the round table, but let's talk about this. The question is, how do we reach young men who have trust issues with other men because of father issues? What you guys thinking?
Man, you got every chance every day. This is a big, uh, like I feel very strongly about this because I've worked in youth ministry. I've worked with kids on and off for over 20 years of my life. And it's all about who you are. When I used to do a men's conference, this is something I pressed on the men at the conference. Eyes are always watching you. You may not know you're a mentor. You may not know some kid is looking at you, but when you live your life, some little eyes are watching you to learn how to be, to learn how to exist, to learn how to thrive, to learn how to be a man. And so the way we do that is by living as men that are trustworthy, men who are transparent, men who are honest, men who are solid to our word. We get through those trust issues by the life we model every day in front of those people around us.
Okay,
Yeah,
anybody else want to take a shot at this?
yeah, you bowling down my street on this one. Whoever asked that question, because that was me one day back in the day. That was me.
Same
Uh,
here.
I had a lot of trust issues with other men, you know, based on father issues, stepfather issues, you name it, domestic violence, you name it. But I had to let it go, right? I had to let it go. I had to lean on my faith. I had to get around like-minded people. Uh, and just like my man just said, you know, when you're raising a family, you either learn what to do from your past or what not to do. And that's what's kind of helped me along the way. Is so yeah, I appreciate whoever asked that question because it hits right at home for me.
Yeah. Honestly, this is going to sound weird, and I hope it doesn't sound hypocritical because that's never what I want to be in front of you guys or behind the scenes either. But this person right here, Zion asked a question. I don't know if it's from our previous convo or something that was just relevant to him, but that's where I was. That was me. I had massive father issues. As a matter of fact, I had massive father issues until around 45 years old. Took me decades to get over and get delivered and get set free from the mindset that, you know what, you ain't worth, you a scrub, you ain't worth nothing because even your own father didn't want you. You know, I had to deal with that stuff for a long time and try to build that and be a girl dad of three. I'm trying to learn how to be that when I never seen it modeled. So this question is real. Honestly, I don't know how we can reach young men like this that were like me and Steven and such, but I just kind of feel like availability is one of the biggest things that we can do. Put
Yeah,
ourselves in a position. We can't all be youth pastors. I mean, I've been in that spot. I know what it's like to do that. But you know, we can't all be serving that capacity. We got to just make ourselves available to these people who are in this spot. And I know this is more than just a podcast and a broadcast to reach them. This thing we got to do in these streets and extend ourselves a little bit, go outside of our comfort zone. But man, I don't know if I have the answer. Maybe just some answers. I don't know if I have the answer for this. Fantastic question, Zion. I don't know, because if they don't trust other men, how do you reach them? How do you get them to trust you? I just feel like it's just time and opportunity. That's really all you can do, right? Does that make sense? Is that good? Am I missing something really obvious?
Yeah, I
I
think
feel
you're
like I'm
spot on,
floundering.
man.
Am I okay?
Yeah, you're spot
Huh?
on. I think you're spot on. But
Okay.
I will
I didn't
also
have a
say
question.
too. I would say too, Ronald. It's like, man, your heart has to be right to deal with young men that are dealing with those type of issues, because all of us, every person can't fix that with you. And I'm just saying one particular young man. And I'll use the example of being a drill instructor. You know, you got 90 young men standing online, scared to death, trust no one there. Uh, but it takes a special trust and confidence in the fidelity and the ability of the individual. And you have to be able to go all in. The worst thing that I think is a young man is crying out for help, dealing with trust issues because of father issues or molestation issues, or you name it. There's a plethora of them. I think the worst is it, going into the situation, not knowing how to fix it, but just going in kind of blindsided. Because again, there's individuals out there that straight up and down, man, that's their lane. That's what they get paid to do. So we're reaching the young man by putting the young man in the most advantageous position to be able to start cracking that code and really getting that young man to a place to where he's maybe not so much trusting, but trusting the process enough to know that this person cares enough for me to at least put me in a position of being able to receive that type of help. Um, because every mentor is not good for every mentee. We know that. And sometimes we as men, we think, well, I went through it, so automatically I can help this young man because I went through it. That's not always the case. And sometimes, dealing with a young man, I have a picture of a gentleman that I know. I won't say his name for out of respect, but this is written all over him right here. Trust issues because of father issues, and he acts out in school. He smokes weed. He wows out. He steals. All of those things, and it's so hurtful to see it, gentlemen, because it's one of those. It's just like, man, you got to give that young man a different type of adherence to really reach him. Like, you can't just talk to him like talking. He's running straight through that, bro. Like, it has to be something more. Like I said, professional help, man, or at least putting the young man in a position to get that professional help. So,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely. Thank you, brother. All right, so we got a DL's comment. I think when it comes to reaching people and helping people, it's important to step outside of our comfort zones. I think somebody just mentioned that. As much as we ask them to be all things to all men in the hope that we win some. Angelina's in the house. Hey, Angeline. She said hello to T.O. and everyone. Adam says trust doesn't come overnight, especially for young people. But to help young people learn trust and gain their trust, you have to show them that you genuinely care about them and keep showing up for them. This man knows he's very immersed in the culture of youth and young people, so he knows what he's talking about. All right. He said, be vulnerable to yourself before you can gain vulnerability from the young. Thank you so much. All right, David's in the house. Thank you for joining us, David. Good to meet you. Hope we can talk soon. Availability is our best ability. Great question. There isn't a single answer for everyone. Show them what right looks like and continue to replicate that daily. Hopefully in time you can help at least 1%. I love it, David. Thanks for the sincerity of that comment. Appreciate it.
Can I challenge that comment? I want to challenge that comment. I want to challenge that comment.
Challenge the comment?
I'm going to challenge that comment because there is one right answer.
Then you're getting paid for this, right? Being the contrarian. You can't pay
this is a universal question because this is now affecting 60% of kids. If you look at the current numbers, like, this is a problem in all of our lives. Half the kids we know are affected by this every single day, wherever you know them in your life. But there is one universal answer, right? Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. If all the good men, because there are a lot of good men out there who are just quiet. If all the good men in the world just stepped up and lived out loud as a good man, a trustworthy, honorable man, and just showed up every day, young men who are going to be the right fit to connect with them are going to drift towards them naturally because they will witness the difference in your life and they will come to it like a moth to a flame.
Okay. Anybody else want to ask you to side with either David or Brent? It's not my intention at all. Anybody want to add to the comments that are made?
Let me jump in for a minute.
Please do. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me jump in real quick on that. I agree with Brent, of course. And I was going to say you lead by example, But I also want to just throw a few things in. I coached youth sports for 15 years with all my kids and all of their friends and all their kids, and we saw this all the time. All the time. There were kids who had father problems, who had trust problems, and I think there's just a couple of things that I wanted to throw out. You have to lead by example for sure. That is always the number one deal. But you have to be let them know that you're available and open without pursuing them. You have to let them come to you. You have to let them trust that. And when you do, you have to just do it knowing you may not get back. So you have to just be there. The other thing is that you have to really get to their level. And, one thing I always did with kids when I was trying to get through to them was I got down on one knee and I either looked up, either at them equally or up, because if they have trust issues, they're used to someone being above them, forcing the power down. And so I think that was a big dynamic. And the last thing that I'll say is that in everything I've ever done that I've led by example in, you have to lead them not just as a good man and not just as a good father, but you have to lead them at some point to God. And you have to point out that, look, if you have trust issues, if you have this, if you have that, there is one person who's never going to let you down, and that's God. And that's just something you absolutely have to somehow impart when you're trying to connect with folks, because then they have a chance to find safety within themselves and within their relationship with God without having to let another earthly man in. And once they find that, then they can start to trust again, and then maybe they can let another earthly man in. So that's all I wanted to add to the conversation.
No, thank you very much. My friend John P said, I'm a father of 4 daughters and a husband as well. I think my family depends on me to be vulnerable. I'm not against this, John. I would love for you, if you're still listening, to just preface this a little bit more for me. We talk about vulnerability on probably almost every broadcast, with a lot of varying opinions in this room about whether we can do that or not as men. Love to hear when you say, especially that last part about you believe your family depends on you to be vulnerable. Break it down, what it look like in your household. We ain't gonna tear you down. We just want to just know kind of what you're saying and give us a little bit of context. That might help out a little bit. I need to understand that a little bit, if you don't mind helping me out there. And David said, I'm here for it. I love the dialogue. Brother, you fit in nicely around here. That's what we're doing. All right. DL said, Jesus paved the way. Jesus is the way. When we consider modeling or being anything, we ought to consider modeling Jesus. That's the example. That is the standard, in my humble assessment. Yep. John P is more popular than I thought. I love it. All right. So this is kind of, I love this. I know we're kind of rounding out the episode, but are we missing anything in this discussion? Is there a point in here that we just haven't touched yet? You guys are in the comments section and on the panel. You guys can jump in here. Are we neglecting to talk about something important? Because we got viewers and listeners that are watching from who knows where. I mean, people in Africa and Australia are watching shows on this brand. So I don't want to leave anything off of the table when it comes to this particular topic. So by all means, please jump in here after I give you this comment from Adam. He has a fantastic podcast, by the way, Uncharted Navigation, Faith in Life. I agree with everyone, but one thing I think is important to mention is don't beat yourself down if you never see the bright side of it, because sometimes we won't. Sometimes we are the planter or the waterer. Definitely, that's right. Paul waters and Paul plants and Apollos waters, but God gives the increase. So I love that, Adam. Thank you for sharing that, brother. All right, any thoughts on this that we're missing? Anything that you guys can think of?
Yeah, we tapped into the things that men carry, which could lead to why they don't say much.
Okay.
So, for example, responsibilities, bills, job pressure, things like that. That we're kind of raised to do those things, but there's a lot of weight that can be carried with that. And it could take a toll on you, if you don't have the appropriate outlets or circles and things like that to get some help.
I get that. I got a question I want to put out here. I feel like it's the kind of question that's probably going to lead us into the last part of this series that we've been on. It's going to take us in the next week, but I want to just breach the topic because I think it's relevant for right now. We talk a lot on this show, and I think it's warranted. And despite how uncomfortable some folks get, I'm going to keep on talking about this. I think it's worth it. We talk about men reaching out for help, and I don't mean therapy so much. Sometimes it's just a real conversation. Sometimes it's just, say, you know what? I need somebody to help give me clarity. It could be getting a coach for specific things. It could be an accountability partnership. It could be a lot of different things. How would you, if you guys can describe it, because some people that are grown, 40, 50, 60 years old, can't even describe what it is. But if you're able to, can you describe what the resistance is that shows up when you think about asking somebody for help? Can you put a name and a face to what the resistance is? That block, that wall, that roadblock that says, you know what, I ain't asking for help in this situation. I'm gonna do it myself because this might happen, or because I remember this feeling and this pain. Can you put a name and a face on the resistance? Can you guys kind of tackle that real quick for us? What is the resistance? What's the name and the face for it? What is it?
Reality.
Yeah, I'll jump on that one.
Yeah, embarrassment.
Embarrassment. Okay. Help with that. Embarrassment because
Yeah, shame.
John P said it's pride for
Right.
him.
Yeah, man.
That's powerful. Wow. Pride. Who else?
It's hard lessons won, man, or hard lessons learned. It's reality. I have some really great friends. I have one who's joined the chat tonight, but the reality is, I know that 99.9% of the time, it's on my head. I'm the only one who loves my family the way I do. I'm the only one who's going to battle hell and high water no matter what, no matter how long, no matter how tired. I'm the only one coming to save me and mine. My brother would show up if he can. Right now, he's, a long ways away, right? I got good people in my life, but when it comes to reality, the only one I know is going to be there right in the moment when I need them is me. It's just a hard learned reality. No one that was there when I was, people wanted to be there, but when I was drinking myself to death, man, that was me and God. That was it. No one could save me from that. That was me and God. That was it. People tried. They couldn't get close to it. They couldn't stop it. They couldn't touch it. That was me and God. When my career was going down the drain in the military, and I was looking at prison time, that was me and God. That's it. It's just hard learned lessons.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think when you've been through that and you've learned those lessons also, when you've been through what Brent's talking about, when you've been through those before, you carry those with you forever. And so it just isn't an easy thing to put that bag down and walk through a new door, So, I mean, for a lot of us, especially those of us who have been around for a few decades, we've had those instances and we've had those moments where we feel that shame and that embarrassment and that pride's gone, our self-worth is gone. And once you've gotten out of that, you never want to feel that way again. So, you come out guarded, and it takes a while for somebody to get through, And I think that for guys, if you're going to put a name or a face or a word to what the resistance is, I think sometimes it might just be history, in terms of what we've dealt with before. If that's what we dealt with before, that's what we expect to deal with again. So you have to kind of change the mindset, and that can take a minute. But that's back to the building trust thing. If you're working with somebody as a coach, especially, they don't necessarily, think they're ready for coaching because they're afraid of what might happen. So it's a process, and I think that history might be the biggest name to put on it for me.
That's fair.
I like it. Anyone else? You got some comments coming up in the chat. I'll give you a chance to jump in. Any thoughts, Clay, Steve? You can take a pass if you want to. It's okay.
Nah, for me, I would say unseen. I feel like a lot of men feel unseen, and that's why they don't ask for help. Just to put it in a nutshell.
That's a really good one.
Love the shirt, man.
Too.
Yeah, appreciate it.
It's valid. Not at all like a shameless plug whatsoever. I didn't think anything about that whatsoever. It's just totally. It just made sense. The fact that you wear a shirt that says "seen" is totally irrelevant to this conversation. It just made sense. Great job by you, brother. You got us visually and intellectually. I love it. Adam said, sometimes we see it as a weakness. We have a mindset to be a strong man. We have to figure it out and fix it ourselves, or else we are seen weak. So we struggle because we don't want to be perceived as weak. Ain't that the truth? Zion agrees with that. Evangeline is in here with us. She said, love the dialogue. Thank you. Love you for being here. I appreciate it so much. We get so much love from wives and daughters and sisters and man and mother. They their comments is like, man, I wish my husband was a part of this, or if my father or brother was a part of this, or thank you for asking that question. It means so much, and I never thought about the ladies when we started this podcast. I would think about the men and men's struggle. I didn't know if we were gonna be touching the whole family. Thank you, God. Yes, this is awesome. I'm so appreciative of this. Thank you, Angeline, for your comments. Thank you so much. All right, Clay, putting you on hold for a second. What you got, man?
Oh man. Yeah, man. I have to rock with like what Roy said, man. Bro, when you've been through real stuff, bro, like you just get to that point, man, where you're just like, man, like dog, you have to experience it, in my opinion. Like I had a man that asked me the other.
Y'all hearing that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not you, right, Clay? Go on now. Can you hear each other?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think it was Tio's mic.
I don't hear y'all at all.
He muted it and went away.
Say something so nice. We almost at the end of the show, so this is not a bad place to have tech issue, but I can't hear you guys.
I can hear
whatsoever.
you.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I don't hear that anymore.
I can't even go
I'm
out
good.
there. Okay. All right. How's that sound? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The whole thing went.
It was Tio's mic.
Okay. Well, my thing shifted too. All my settings defaulted.
So maybe it wasn't Tio's mic.
I don't understand, but yeah,
Yeah, my headphones
we were having a good
died,
time
man. I apologize.
we were having a good time when tech issues start showing up. We hitting on something in here.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, Clay, your time is a little bit short, brother. So go ahead and finish your thought up, brother, and we can go ahead and get up out of here, man. Go ahead. Hurry up.
Yeah, I'll apologize, man.
Are you good?
Headphones died on me. So yeah, I was just basically just capping off by saying, when you've been in the mud, man, you know 100%. Like you say, man, I think about that gate. Like you don't want to go back to that gate no more, man. Once you've been down and through that gate, bro, like you really deal with the internal of, man, if I would have just asked for help, it wouldn't even be as worse of a situation that it actually is, depending on whatever that may be. But it's pride always comes before the fall, man. That's a fact. And if you've lived it, then you understand that concept over and over and over again. Um, but man, it's been a difficult one for me, brother, because I'm not afraid to ask for help no more, man. I'm just not, bro. But at the same time, I'm very reluctant to ask for help without looking in the mirror first, man. It just boils down to that for me. Like, did I exhaust all means? If I exhausted every mean, bro, I took it to God first, like straight up and down. Because sometimes God be telling us to ask for help, and we still thinking hard headed and won't do it.
That's true, man. That's a real
Heck yeah, it's true, man. And like I said, the gentleman just happened to ask me. He said, "Hey, man, I'm $30 short to catch the bus. I'm trying to get home back to another state, which was at the time Ohio." Long story short, man, for the sake of time, I was on my way to church, man. And I was like, dog, if I get to church and I'm sitting there and I know I had the means to help this cat, but I just didn't because I don't know him. He's not the same complexion as me, or I don't know the dude, man. I just don't know him. How am I really going to feel? Because I believe those tests come And I'm not doing it just for the simple fact of, oh, it's a test. No, it's just really, really being honest with self, man. And I cash out the dude. I cashed out him $50 because he said he need $30 because he had 30. He need another 30 to catch the Greyhound bus to get home. And I gave him a book. I signed the book, gave it to him, and I looked him in his face. I said, bro, if you take that money, you go get high. You take that money, you go drink. You take that money and do whatever. That's not on me. But it's on me if I sit in church 30 minutes from now, knowing in my heart that I could have helped you, but because of my bias towards whatever, I didn't. And man, later on the next day, I got a notification, man, on Cash App, man. Dude sent me $100. He sent me the 50 that I gave to him plus a extra 50. And he was like, man, I'm halfway through your book, and the things you talked about in that book is what I really needed. And that's why God put it in my spirit to ask you for help. He said, I'd asked about 10 other people before I asked you. And he said, man, and all of those other people, you know, they just said they couldn't help me. Not saying they're bad people, they just said they couldn't help me. But you did. So again, man, what is the end state of that, fellas? Am I sitting here feeling all shivery and proud because I helped this dude and he sent the money back? I didn't want the money back. I didn't care about that. It was just, I didn't want to sit in church 40 minutes from the time that man asked me to help him with that conviction of knowing I have the means to help him, but I chose not to because of my bias. Oh, he's going to take it and go do whatever. That's whatever he decides to do with it. But just to the creator, I knew that the Lord had put test on me, man, that and it always comes when I least expect it. And those specific tests that he had put on me, that's the end state that I walk away with you, Seth, Roy, Brent, Brother Stephen. It's like, man, I could rest that night knowing, man, I did the right thing, bro. But this was just the one time that the reciprocation came back that I really was able to say, man, dude needed my help. I helped him. He got to his destination. He paid it back forward. The blessing is the blessing, man. So asking for help, man, just do it. If you're out there, man, just ask. Because that pride will put you in a worse situation. Sometimes the embarrassment. You know, I told Big Mo the other day, man, we can't be afraid to talk about if we struggle with porn, bro. And that's what I say with that embarrassment. And we had a whole 45-minute conversation about the struggle with porn. That's real, bro. So, hey, man, I love it, man.
You, brother. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that. We got a few more comments, and then we're going to go ahead and get out of here, man. Brother Oscar said, if we can, then we should. Referencing helping people who need help. Love that. DL said, well done, gentlemen. Another great combo. You're a big part of that, brother. Thank you so much. We got family jumping inside here to support Coach Clay, man. So that's good stuff, cousin. There's a reward and selfless giving. I love the family jumping in, man. This is awesome, man. At the outset of at the beginning of the show, we had two announcements. I'm not going to take time to recap those, but Rory made a very important announcement, and it has a time stamp on it. Basically 9 days from right now. If you didn't hear the announcement, rewind back to the beginning or jump in the show notes. The announcement is laid out in there in full Technicolor. You got 9 days to take him up with his offer. That's 9 days. It's a one-time offer, but I believe it's a life-changing offer. The one that I made, you have more time with it to ponder it and think about it, but I ask you to really think well about that. It's also inside the show notes about my announcement, but check it out. Thank you guys that jumped on the panel tonight. As usual, you knocked it out of the box. You guys in the chat today, a lot of guys in the chat are our panelists, or some of them are going to be panelists soon. They've asked to join, and they've been approved to do so. So you're going to see a lot of new faces coming through the MRTS, but man, go Cougs. What we talking about here?
Yeah, he's down in in Texas, man. He's down in Houston. He's a big Houston, Texas
New is
guy.
all right.
And yeah, so
All right.
shout out
Okay.
to them Cougs, man. Yes, sir.
All right. Number love from Big Cuz. It's okay. Look, all right. But thank you guys for jumping in here and doing this. Next week will be, I guess, theoretically our last discussion on this topic, which is kind of not true. We talk about this stuff every week almost. But we're going to really flesh it out this month. So next week will be the last part of this series. And then in April, we're going to move into something else a lot bigger and maybe even more deeper, perhaps. We'll see. But you all you guys watching and listening for the very first time, thanks for doing that. We're on all the platforms, listening platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, all that stuff. We're there. And of course, we're live right now on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. You can find us. Some clips on Instagram and TikTok later on tonight. But thank you again for making us a part of your week. This is the Men's Roundtable Series podcast. Fathers, brothers, husbands, sons, and warriors. We love you guys. Have a good one.